Welcome to Shorthand 1197. My name is Roger Grimes. In this video, we're going to talk about basics. A friend of mine, Gary Gilliam, has put out there a video, and he also wanted to see what I would say about basics. So the basics of my martial arts. Well, first off, I want to say is repetition. So here's a quote I like from Zig Ziglar. It says, "Repetition is the mother of learning, the father of action, which makes it the architect of accomplishment." But repetition, that is a basic that a lot of people don't talk about. So we're going to talk about all kinds of different things, or the same. Everyone's talking the same, aren't they? But the thing is, the basics, you got to start with repetition and practicing it. Now, here's where it gets to. Repetition. Where a lot of people say practice makes perfect. No, I don't think there's anyone perfect. I've been doing this 30 years, and you can see from my kicking videos, those aren't perfect. But as repetition of me doing good basics will produce good kicks. Now, repetition of bad basics will develop bad kicks, punches, wherever it is. But repetition is one of my basics that I do. My basics have actually evolved as I've been doing this in the martial arts. Even though it's the same, but it's not the same. Al Tracy would say a punch is a punch, a kick is a kick, a block is a block. Then a punch isn't a punch, a kick isn't a kick, and a block isn't a block. Then a punch is a punch, a kick is a kick, a block is a block. So you go in full circle of overanalyzing, and then you come right back. It's just a punch, it's just a block. So I'm going to go over a technique, because there are self-defense techniques in the Tracy system of Kempo is our basics. Even the hardest of techniques like Dance of Death, there's basics in there. So I'm going to start off with just talking about, before I get into technique, say I'm in a fighting stance here, fighting horse. Just a standard like neutral bow or fighting stance here. You know, I'm more forward. So now, those are different stances, but your punching and your kicking comes from those stances. So now that means you have to change basically how you deliver those strikes. But it's the same. So what changes is your pivoting may change. So what degree do I turn? Do I step? You know, that's what's going to decide what you're going to do. So if I'm in the fighting horse, this limits a lot of my striking. So what do I have from here? I have a knife edge kick. I have a side kick here. I can do a hoof kick. Yeah, I can do a lot of things from there. I can throw the back fist. I can throw the reverse punch, but with the reverse punch, I have to adjust what I'm doing. So those are the basics that I use. So now, with your punching, point of origin. Coming right where you're at, go forward. Don't come back to do a back fist. I'm here to here. If they are not there for you, if they're not lined up for that back fist, you can do a couple things. One, adjust, or just plain out don't throw it. So that's the basics that I go off of, is the reality of, should I use this now or not? So then that leads into basically recognition of position. You got to recognize your position. Do you have the target? Don't you have the target? So then repetition, recognition, right? But we also need balance. We need to have balance to do that. There's the basics. So balance, but you gotta have alignment. When I'm throwing my strikes, I have to be aligned. So that goes up into that here. I have to do the alignment. So I have to be aligned for my strikes to have good balance. If my balance is poor and I go to hit, it's going to be poor shot. If my alignment is off, but my balance was good. Well, I'm gonna break my balance, but I'm also gonna have a weak shot. Make sense? All right, I'm gonna wrap this up here. I'm gonna do a couple techniques, but they start off similar. So the basics I'm gonna take is from a couple techniques. One we call crossing hammers. It gets a left punch. A lot of times people try to do it all at the same time, come out doing this. Okay, so here's my basics on doing this. I look at this technique a couple different ways. One, I see that someone's going to throw it. They're really detailed about it. Now, if I decide I just want to walk around, I can start the stepping, then block as I do that. But before, this is where the basic stays the same, whether I move the foot first or move the hand, then the foot. I don't do that at the same time because that's not how my brain doesn't go, oh, punch. No, basic. Oh, punch. Step out of the way, block it, move your head. Just don't be there. That's a basic. So here it is. I'm going to do the first way is where I see it coming. But what I'm going to do is lean my weight into this, so I have to distribute my weight differently as I walk. Then I come around to get close to. So by having the good balance and shifting of the weight is going to help you with the balance when you're moving. Any kind of footwork or kicking, you got to shift the weight. You got to have it ready to go. You know, so there it is. Shift the weight. Step. Boom. I'm walking out. There's a strike. All right, so I'm going to do the technique. So from here, I see it coming. I'm going to shift the weight. I'm going to block, then step. Or shift the weight, step, then block. Then I'm going to come around, get close. There's a strike to the head. Now I chop. I don't want to turn and chop. I have no weight or no power. So from here, I shift my hip, not so much into them or away from them, but I kind of shift it down and come in close. And when I'm doing this strike, it's a different kind of strike. It's not one of those, I gotta snap that thing fast, or it's not gonna be anything. So I'm going on speed on this one. So then that's back fist to chop to here. And then when I'm throwing my strikes, loose, strike. I just do the basic of the movement. Okay, so now I just move my head, but even if I do this, I shift that weight, I can walk now. As soon as the poo-poo is about to hit the fan, see, I can come right here, boom. Then there's a couple more techniques similar to this. This is the basics of our techniques, is repetition. All right? So now there's another one, reversing hammers. They're throwing the punch. Same thing, same premise. You can do that move. I'm walking around. Here it is. Now, I don't have this. Maybe the shoulder's in the way. They're taller than me. I can back fist to the head this way. Now they might do this. Their hands may come up, elbow to the ribs. The double chops. Now I got the shifting that I was talking about earlier. From the punching. Our techniques have that in it. A lot of people say you can't use Kempo for sparring. I say that's bull farts, because you can if you separate the pieces of the Kempo. The basics in each technique is each movement. That's the basics I talk about. All right, I'm going to give you one more technique off that same beginning. It's called crossing swords. You can do open hand or closed hand when you do it. But same thing, here comes the punch. Maybe I'm moving. I get that round, chop to the neck, elbow to the rib. Same thing as we just did off that. Repetition. Come around, knuckle, kick. So here I'm moving. That repetition with the basic movement of just keeping it simple is where your speed really comes from too. Not being so tense, don't try too hard, just come out and do it. So there's basics for me. My basics are a little different to me now than they were when I was learning them. Because when you learn the alphabet, it's new to you, you're learning it, but as you grow, that alphabet will turn different. Just like when I wrote my book, I wasn't able to write that book as I was learning the alphabet. I had to learn how to make words, sentences, paragraphs. Then I learned how to tell stories with it. Then here comes a book. Boom, there it is. So like I was saying earlier, practice makes what? No, not perfect. But practice makes better. Even more practice can make mastery. You could get really good at something if you do it well. But if you practice the wrong stuff, what comes out? So I hope you enjoy this video. God bless you. See you in the next.